Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri-Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Upapadamyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri-Tapadakammalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahaganalita Shri Vishakhambitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshri Vrishabhanu Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kriptu Vishya Prabhasandu Veva Japtithana Pavani Bhyo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So welcome everyone to today's corporate Gita session. We'll continue from fourth chapter. Now, in the third chapter, Krishna talks about transcendental knowledge, um, which one achieves when he does work with Nishkam Bhav. That is work, as duty, as without attachment for the fruits, and as a duty. And then he achieves this knowledge. What is this knowledge is in this particular chapter? It's called transcendental knowledge. So the very first verse that we read um, is Krishna is saying, I gave this knowledge, science of yoga, to sun god, and sun god gave it to his son Manu, and Manu gave it to Ikshvaku, his son. So very naturally the question comes, how could Krishna give this knowledge, you know, millions of years ago? So we went through the purport, and we came to the reading that it's almost like um, 120 million years ago. Bhagavad Gita is that much old, 120 million years old. There is no knowledge which is this old. So Bhagavad Gita is a timeless knowledge. Hmm? Time cannot destroy it. It will keep coming back again and again, because this knowledge takes us to moksha, liberation. And moksha and liberation is very important for us. The reason is because we are not this body. This is a very important understanding of uh, spirituality, is that we are practicing spiritual life because we are spirit, not because we are body. We are having a human journey. Okay, we are in this body, we are having a human journey. So what is required for our spirit is there in spiritual life, and this is one of the part of the knowledge, and then there is practice also. So the cycle of birth and death is going on. From one body to another we are moving. We are just moving from one body to another. So Bhagavad Gita comes and says you can stop this whole cycle of birth and death by performing yoga. So it is a moksha literature. So let's go further. एवं परंपरा प्राप्तिम इमं राजर्षयो विदुः स कालेन महता yogo nashta parantapah. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. Um, there is a succession, meaning this knowledge is passed down through saintly kings. Okay. Let me just send this picture. will see this picture here. Okay. Let me take a snapshot of this. If you see, there are so many, lineages being described here. Let me zoom in. Where it is. Let's see. Can you see these names? So Lord Krishna gave this knowledge to Brahma. Brahma gave it to Manu, Swayambhu Manu. Manu had 5 children: Priyavat, Uttanapada, Akuti, Prasuti, Devahuti. And Brahma had these many Rishi Munis also. So this knowledge is coming through so many paramparas. You can see. And then Lord
Yes.
Ram is also here. So this is Ikshvaku line. See, this is Vaivatsara Manu. This is another Manu. This is another Manu. This is another. This is the current Manu. There are 14 Manus that are there in the uh, day of Brahma. So this was first Manu, and then this is I don't know if it is seventh or something, but Vaivatsana Manu is there. In this lineage comes Lord Ram. So this knowledge is there. It has been passed to all these saintly kings. Why saintly kings? Because how the leader behaves, the common general people they follow. So these were the good leaders. Um, they came with good qualities. So that's why uh, they have to be given this knowledge, and they won't keep this knowledge with themselves. They will distribute it to the general public. First, they will follow it, and then they will give it. Like another Manu is also here, Chakshusha Manu. This is sixth Manu. Before Vaivatsana Manu came Chakshusha Manu. So you can see so many lineages are there. So it's a very, this goes on for like millions of years. Like that. Like Bhagirathi. You know what Bhagirathi is famous for? Do you know?
No.
For Mother Ganga. So he's the one who performed severe penances to let Mother Ganga come from the heavenly planets onto earth. So he did Bhagirathi. He did like that. And yeah. Oh, oh. Hmm. And Krishna comes in the Soma Vansha. Soma. And Vavatsa Manu comes in the Surya Vamshi. Starting from Sun. Sun Sun. So this is the Surya Vamshi line. This is Soma Vamshi line. Soma, moon. When the moon, 5,000 years ago, Krishna came. See, Devaki, Vasudeva, Vasudeva, and here comes Lord Krishna, like this. So point to mention is there are so many saintly kings, and that's how the knowledge was passed. And even not this knowledge, Bhagavad Gita knowledge, even material knowledge also. Ayurveda, astrology, Shastra, Shastra Vidya, Rig Ved, Yajurved, all of this was also followed through this disciplic succession. So everything, they may have a different disciplic succession, but It's like this. This is how the knowledge comes down to us. But in due course of time, it appears to be lost. Why it is appears to be lost? Any thought?
because we don't have that much of saintly person people now as they used to be
Yeah.
earlier.
Yes. See, this world is a place where it is deterioration. Things get deteriorated, right? So even great lineage get deteriorated. Like Lord Ram's lineage is there today? No. Lord Krishna's lineage is there or not? No. He's the
No.
Yadava. So there are some Yadavas. They have surname Yadavas, but they are not Yadavas. So their lineage is there, but they are no more, saintly. They are very materialistic, like that. So they won't give that knowledge to the next generation because they themselves won't follow and they will ignore it. So then the disciplic succession breaks. Then again Krishna comes as another lineage and he gives the same knowledge. And now he's giving this knowledge to Arjuna. Hmm? So it is clearly stated that that Gita was specially meant for saintly kings, Raj and Rishi, because they were to execute its purpose in ruling over the citizen. Certainly, Bhagavad Gita was never meant for demonic people who would dissipate its value for no one's benefit and would devise all type of interpretations according to personal whims. Demoniac people. Demoniac means unprincipled people, unethical, unmoral, those who don't follow the Vedic rules. If they get this knowledge, they would give an interpretation according to the personal whims. So this is found like in other places. Sometimes religious texts are translated the way the person wants. Like sometimes some people say, "Na, I am ordered by God." So then they will start showing in the book only, religious book only, that see here it is written, or this is what it means, that I am the one. So to show supremacy, to show control, power, they may translate it their own ways, and they may themselves become like they may call themselves as God. We have big problem in, I mean, all around the world, not just in India, that um, there are people who say that they are God, and then common people, they uh, um, out of blindness they go and follow these so-called gods, and they get cheated. So many scandals come out, right? So that's why people lose faith also in religion, because religion means you have to be moral, ethical, right? You don't want cheating over there. If cheating happens, then common public will feel very dejected, and they'll feel, what is this? I see cheating in my daily life, and I also see cheating in religion also, where I've come to seek shelter. So this is because of the demonic people. They will use this knowledge. And we see today in today's world, the terrorists are using religious text. And they are saying that killing anybody, even a child, is is the right thing to do. Right? And um they will commit suicide, like suicide bombers and all that. So this is all because of these wrong interpretations. So we have to be very careful of anybody giving wrong interpretation. As soon as the original purpose was scattered by the motive of unscrupulous commentators, there arose a need to re-establish the disciplic succession. 5,000 years ago, it was detected by the Lord Himself that the disciplic succession was broken, and therefore He declared that the purpose of Gita appeared to be lost. In the same way, at the present moment, there are so many editions of Gita, especially in English, but almost all of them are according to the authorized are not according to the authorized disciplic succession. See, there are many, many editions of Gita, but not everyone reading them will become devotee. Why? Because I'll tell you. In one very famous politician, he was jailed in Andaman and Nicobar. You know Andaman and Nicobar? It is an island in the Bay of Bengal, very far from India and very far from any other land. So he was kept over there, and he took some religious book. One of them was Gita. So he read Gita over there, and after reading Gita, he did translation of Gita. He did some explanation of Gita, and he said that the purpose of Gita is to fight for one's country. Arjuna fights, so we have to fight for our country. Well, that is not the right interpretation, because country is temporary thing. The purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to perform every work in the spirit of yoga and dedicate it to the Supreme and break the cycle of birth and death. You are no more this so-called politician and Indian and all that. These are external designations. You have to come out of that external designation. Then, as we go further in Bhagavad Gita, in the 17th chapter, Krishna talks about food. There are three different types of foods in mode of goodness, mode of ignorance, mode of passion. Some places it talks about yukta harasya, recreation, and all that. So, some what to say this health expert, he was reading Bhagavad Gita and he saw these sections. Then he said Bhagavad Gita is meant to have a healthy body. All these things are mentioned there. Mode of goodness food, mode of ignorance food, mode of passion food. So do you think that Bhagavad Gita is meant to keep our body healthy? Just because there are few sentences spoken in Bhagavad Gita on health? No, right?
Not like it is a part of the learning, but not the main objective.
Yeah. But people make that as the main thing. People make that as the main thing. That is their problem. So therefore, these interpretations, they are not helpful. They should understand it's only a small part of it. They can mention, okay, few thing is mentioned, it's like this, like this, like this, but not that to say that Bhagavad Gita is meant to have a healthy body, or Bhagavad Gita is meant to fight for a country. Hmm? Like that. So that all conclusions should not be made. There are innumerable interpretations rendered by different mundane scholars, but almost all of them do not accept the supreme personal godhead Krishna. And yeah, and many Bhagavad Gita readers, writers, they neglect Krishna, the speaker of Bhagavad Gita. Now, why do you think we should have great regard for Krishna? What is your reasoning? Should we have or not? We should not we have? What is your point? What do you think?
We should, right? Because we have got these much of learning because of him.
Yeah, and then we are reading in this particular chapter. He's telling so many things. He's telling that he gave this knowledge. He remembers. Like if we when we read the next few text, he will say that I can remember all of them, you cannot. I am unborn, I am transcendental, I am Lord of all living entities. And later on, he says, I am the Supreme Lord. And Arjuna says that. And then he shows the Virat Rupa. So Krishna is talking about him and almost dedicating 6, 7 chapters. And people neglect Krishna, they keep him on the side. This happens actually. If you if, in the 1970s there was a seminar on Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada was invited there, and when he went there, there was no picture of Krishna. And what they did was they just lit a lamp. They just lit a lamp, and then Prabhupada said, "You're not worshipping Krishna." Well, for them, Krishna was not that important. But Krishna's 6 chapters he dedicated uh, on his own um, biodata. So you can understand that Krishna is very important out of this whole thing. And Arjuna, in the end, he says very interesting thing. Let us go there. Karishya vachana tava. Yeah. He what he says? Karishya vachana tava. Mean I will do what you say. Tava, your, I will execute your order. So if this is what Arjuna is concluding, he is giving Krishna such a importance, very high place, right? I will listen to what you say and I will do what you say. Karishye, I will execute. Vachanam, meaning whatever you have said, your order. And just a minute. Hmm. Huh. I will do as you say. Now, somebody is saying, I will do as you say, he's giving that person a very big uh, position, right, in his life. A very authoritative position is giving, right? So we cannot neglect Krishna. That is what even Bhagavad Gita Arjuna is saying. That. Hmm? So, uh, when people neglect Krishna, right, and they only make a good business on his words, on Bhagavad Gita they make a mistake, but they do not accept him as the Supreme Lord, then that is also wrong. This spirit is demoniac. They will just make money out of the book, but forget the author. Because demons do not believe in God, but simply want to enjoy the property of the Supreme. Bhagavad Gita is a property of Krishna. They want to make money on that. Since there is a great need of an edition of Bhagavad Gita of Gita in English, as it is received by the Parampara, disciplic succession, an attempt is made here to fulfill this great want. So therefore, Prabhupada wrote this Bhagavad Gita in English, and we'll see in the disciplic succession, the Parampara. It is a great boon to humanity, but if it is accepted as a treatise of philosophical speculation, it's simply a waste of time. It's a great boon. Boon means what? Boon means blessing, bonus, benefit. It is not just a philosophical speculation. Speculation means, you just make things up. You hypothesize, you theorize, you suppose, I suppose, I guess. It's a theory or hypothesis, opinion. It's not opinion. It's a benefit for the human society. If we can come to that conclusion, that is the best conclusion. And here Prabhupada talks that he gave this Bhagavad Gita as a parampara, as a parampara. Hmm? Now, what is this parampara? Parampara is a disciplic succession, a guru disciplic succession. I will just show you. Now we all learn some language, right? Some subjects, right, from our teachers. So we go and we see, what is the qualification of our teacher. Has he learned, has he got the degree from a authorized college or university, right? If you are to take admission in some college, you are going to see if that college has some what do you say, authority, bona fideness to the government, to the educational institute which is nominated by the government, right? And then the teachers,
Yes.
yeah, the teachers, the qualification of the teachers. If some teacher says, if somebody comes and says, I learned surgery by reading 100 books of surgery. So is someone going to learn surgery from that person? No, right?
No, no.
Yeah. So unless one does surgery from say BJ Medical College or Grant Medical College, we know these are big universities, big colleges who are not just big, but they are bona fide. They are there for a long time and they are bona fide by the government, by the authorities. And then when one learns from them, then we will accept the knowledge. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna and he gives this knowledge to multiple people. Like here in Bhagavad Gita, he says he gave this knowledge to Sun God. And Sun God gave to Vavatsa Manu. Manu gave it to Ikshvaku. Similarly, Krishna gave this knowledge to other people also. And we saw this whole tree diagram here where Krishna is giving this knowledge to many people. This is one Manu. There's another Manu. Chakshusha Manu is also here. There's Swayambhu Manu. There are three Manus here. Then Krishna came as Lord Ram also. So in his disciplic succession also he got this knowledge. And he gave also this knowledge. So he's giving all this knowledge. And here in Bhagavad Gita that we are reading, here we get the knowledge from this Guru disciplic succession which is called as Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya. So it starts from Krishna. He gave this knowledge to Brahma. Brahma gave it to Narad Muni, his son. Narad Muni gave it to Vyasa. 5,000 years ago, there was a sage called Vyasa Muni, and Vyasa Muni, 2,000 years, almost not 2,000, maybe 1,000 years ago, Madhvacharya, a great saint from the place called Udupi in Karnataka, he visited Vyasadeva, who is still there in the Himalayas, and he got that knowledge. And his disciplic succession, he gave it to his disciple gave it to his disciple, like that, Madhvacharya. That how it comes to then Lord Chaitanya, Rupa Goswami, Jana Sargunath Das Goswami. Then it comes down to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and it is given to us. And when we give this knowledge to somebody, then we continue the parampara, and we should give the knowledge as it is. Therefore, this book is called As It Is. Bhagavad Gita as it is, not as it was or as it should be, but as it is, meaning as Krishna said, what Krishna meant, the same understanding is given to us. Okay, so this is called parampara. And for our material knowledge also, we follow this kind of parampara only, right? So similarly for spiritual life also, it is this parampara we should see. So any spiritual organization and all that, we should look at, whether what parampara they are coming into. If the parampara is not starting from Krishna, then the knowledge over there is not true. There will be some problem in it. There will be some impurity in it. There will be some impurity in it. This is a very important point, because first of all, why you should attend this class? Because it is bona fide. Okay, I'm showing you this, the parampara. I'm not speaking on my imagination, right? That is the reason. And why we are going to read this book? Because it is in parampara. Like that it is. And what will be the test of this parampara? Now, if I ask you, what will be the test of this parampara? What is the test of this whole thing? What we are talking and reading and explaining. What do you think? See, we know the source is good, but still, there are some more tests to be done, right? To say that it is completely bona fide. I'll give you an example. We may buy a medicine from the hospital. Now we know that the medicine is good. What is the remaining test for the medicine? There is one last test.
To work, to
Yeah,
make
it
the
should work,
patient
right?
better.
Yes, it should work. Now, this knowledge that we are discussing, it should work in our life. First of all, we should be able to understand it, that it is understandable. It is not a complex knowledge. Okay? Absolute truth has to be easy to be understood. It should be followable. We should be practically able to follow. Even though we may be modern people with modern gadgets and all that, this knowledge should be able to follow. And third thing, it should transform our heart. It should make us a good person. It should make us devotee of Krishna. Then we can say, okay, everything is working. And when Prabhupada gave this knowledge to hippies, they became Krishna conscious people. So this knowledge is helping us to understand, and we are practicing this knowledge. I am also practicing this knowledge. So that's why this is bona fide. There are many people who will say, uh, I know Bhagavad Gita and all that, but if we ask, can you practice? But do you practice Bhagavad Gita? No, I don't practice, or I practice something else only. So some people just make money out of it. Do you know there are Bhagavad Gita courses in IIM Ahmedabad? Do you know that?
No, never heard of it.
Never heard of it, no? So I'll show you. You know, right? IIM Ahmedabad. This is the top college in MBA. Here, this is their website, and they have a Bhagavad Gita class. Do you know what is the fees they're asking?
No.
64,000 rupees just for 9 days of class. So they're making money out of it. Well, they may explain different ways they are making, they have to charge and all that. But actually, Bhagavad Gita is a spiritual science and it has to be given for free. Okay. Anyway,
Then
so
do you think is it worth, like, for example, you said that they're charging 64,000, and it's definitely a huge amount. So how do we, I mean, how do we find the right source? If you don't know, because in our minds we have this preconceived notion that it's I am Ahmedabad, so it has to be the best. I'm not just talking about the Bhagavad Gita sessions they provide. I'm talking about, like, generally, how do we know that, just because it has a good name in the market, that they are doing something differently, or maybe their course is something different, or in some another way.
see, first thing is name is fine. This they may have some name and fame, and okay, I agree. Then what knowledge they are using? Is it through disciplic succession? That is one thing. Is that disciplic succession starting from Krishna? Is it bona fide? Hmm? Second thing, are they just making money out of it in reality? All these things we have to check, no? Whether they are bluffing, they are cheating, how much sincere they are. And there are a few more other things, right? We read in second text that are they accepting Krishna to be the supreme person of Godhead? Are they demoniac in nature? Meaning, demoniac means in Bhagavad Gita, there's a 16th chapter. It says what are the demoniac and the demonic qualities, divine qualities: pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These are demoniac qualities. So by testing it, by seeing it, we can understand, whether they are true or not. But regarding, if organization is teaching and charging so much, they are not they are not teaching Bhagavad Gita in the spirit of Bhagavad Gita. They are teaching Bhagavad Gita and they are pulling out some teachings from Bhagavad Gita, and they are showing like some management principles, some Krishna talks about food in Bhagavad Gita, so let's talk about that. Then Krishna talks about some recreation in Bhagavad Gita, let's talk about that. You getting? There are some principles, there are some philosophy in this Bhagavad Gita, so they will talk about all those things.
Yes, yes, yes. I get the point now. Then how do you? Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, yeah. I understand now.
Yeah. So the thing is, from from Bhagavad Gita, we should understand is from the way of how Arjuna understood. How Arjuna understood. I said, I'll do what Krishna you say. Now we are in the fourth chapter, right? There is a lot of other chapters pending: fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, tenth, and there is some more things that Krishna is going to talk about. What is to be done and all that in Bhakti Yoga. Hmm? Just to give you some glimpse, in the ninth chapter, most confidential knowledge is given. Now we are talking about transcendent knowledge, but there's knowledge which is even more secret than that. So open, this is open secret, okay? Meaning everyone can read it, but it's open secret. What is that open secret? Krishna says, I am creating this world, I am destroying it. I have created time, I have created karma. I descend in this human form, and people think I am also one of the human. They get bewildered, attracted. But then there are those who always chant my glories, they become my devotees. That is the um, what to say that is the ultimate instruction of Bhagavad Gita, that you become devotee of Krishna. And Krishna explains why they should become devotee of Krishna. Uh, uh, he tells about his glories and all that, and then he says, "You have to surrender unto me." In the um, huh, 18.66. Sarva dharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam raja aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma sucha. So whoever is teaching Bhagavad Gita should teach this also. It's okay, they bring out some management point, this point, that point, but they should mention that actually Bhagavad Gita is meant to come to this understanding. If we are using all that management, we are using all that management to perform our spiritual life, material life peacefully, so that we can balance it and ultimately come to this point. Not that we grow in this material world. Suppose somebody uses the management principles of Bhagavad Gita and he becomes very successful. Do you think he is successful or is not successful?
In the material world, he is.
In the material world, he is. Meaning, look at this picture here. One may get a lot of success in his life. Family man, rich man, famous, PhD, owns a house, big thing, right? But at the time of death, everything is taken away, and you again in the next life start from zero. Whereas if somebody develops Krishna consciousness, after death also they take, and in the next life they continue the same Krishna consciousness. You see? So this is spiritual life. That's why we have to do spiritual life. Because time cannot destroy it. Now does it make sense?
Yes, yes. Now it does.
Yeah. Okay. So we spent a lot of time discussing. But this is all very important because a lot of cheating is going on. We need some clarity. No? So स एवं मया ते अद्य योग प्रोक्तो पुरातनः भक्तोस्मि चेतसा सखा चेति रहस्यम oh sorry yeah rahasam hi etat uttamam. This very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as friend, and therefore you can understand the transcendent mystery of the science. See, unless we are devotee and friend of Krishna, right? We we will be then be able to understand and appreciate the greatness of Krishna. Now, you must have heard this name, Bill Gates, right? Now, Bill Gates,
Yes.
yeah, Bill Gates is suppose he's walking on the road and he puts his hand in his pocket and he tries to pull out his handkerchief. But while pulling out the handkerchief, some money falls. $1,000, $1,000 falls out from his pocket, and then he doesn't pick it up. You know why he doesn't pick it up? Because
It
he's so
said that,
rich.
yeah.
He's so
Uh,
rich that by the time the money has fallen to the ground, he has already earned $1,000. He's so rich. so if somebody is not a friend of Bill Gates, what will that person do to Bill Gates? He will try to harm him, right? Try to take money out of him, try to do harm him. But somebody who's a friend of Bill Gates and he comes to know that Bill Gates is so rich, what will that person do to Bill Gates? He won't do anything to Bill Gates, right? He'll be still friendly with him, and he's not going to say, okay, you're a rich person, I want money from you. He will not ask all that. He just be there for the friendship, right? A true friend will be there for the friendship. He won't be there for some ulterior motives, for some profit. You're getting? Similarly, Krishna is a supreme lord, and uh, a friend of his can only appreciate the supremeness of Krishna. Otherwise, uh, one will then, unnecessary fight with Krishna, which happens when Krishna was there 5,000 years ago. Not everyone came to, become friendly with Krishna. Arjuna, who is cousin of, Duryodhan, who is cousin of Arjuna, he tried to bind Krishna. I will bind you. I will kidnap you. And by kidnapping, I can then influence, blackmail, Yudhishthir and everyone, because they are your relatives, na? They are your great friends. So then they will listen to me and they won't fight in this war. You getting? So, so there are people like Duryodhan, and they need not be given this knowledge, Bhagavad Gita, because they will become envious of Krishna. They will try to harm Krishna, and Krishna is not going to be harmed by that. But it's unnecessary. They will fight with Krishna, and they will lose only in that. But yeah, so if we are going to tell our secrets, whom are we going to tell our secrets? To our friend, right? Because we know our friend is not going to take undue advantage of it. Hmm? So Krishna is giving this ancient secret knowledge to Arjuna. The reason is he is a friend, and therefore he can understand all this transcendental mystery in it. Hmm? There are two classes of men, namely the devotee and the demon. The Lord selected Arjuna as the recipient of this great science, owing to this being the devotee of the Lord. But for the demon, it is not possible to understand great mystery science. There are a number of editions of this great book of knowledge. Some of them have commentators by devotees, and some of them are commentaries by demons. Commentation by devotee is real, whereas that of the demons is useless. Why? Because they don't come to the conclusion. They only tell half truth. Is half truth good? No, right? It may be
No.
some benefit may be there. Some benefit may be there. But what is the point? Right? You should give the whole truth. Like sometimes, this salesperson, they sell credit cards to us or loans or whatever. They only tell the good part of it. Do they tell how much you have to keep paying and all that, and where are these hidden charges and fees and all that?
No, they don't.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's how it is. Demons are like that. So commentation of demons is that okay, let me take that part of Bhagavad Gita on which I can make big money. I can make money out of it. So so therefore that is useless. Arjuna accepts Sri Krishna as the supreme person Godhead, and any commentary on Gita following in the footsteps of Arjuna is real devotional service to the cause of this great science. The demoniac, however, do not accept Lord Krishna, as he is. Instead, they concoct something about Krishna and mislead general readers from the path of Krishna's instruction. Here is a warning about such misleading paths. One should try to follow the disciplic succession from Arjuna and thus be benefited by this great science of Bhagavad Gita. Now, this is the question. Arjuna Vacha Aparam Bhavato Janma Param Janma Vivasvatah Kathayam Etad Vijniyam Tvam Ado Proktavaniti. Arjuna said, the sun god Vivasvan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand in the beginning that you instructed this science to him? Sun god was born millions of years ago, Krishna. And Krishna, you and me are of almost the same age. How is it that you told this knowledge to sun god? Right? This is the question we discussed last time. So Arjuna is an accepted devotee of the Lord, so he could not believe. So how could he not believe Krishna's word? The fact is Arjuna is not inquiring for himself, but for those who do not believe in the Supreme Person of Godhead. So this question is actually for beneficial for us. And for the demons who do not like the idea that Krishna should be accepted as Supreme Person of Godhead, for them only Arjuna inquires onto the point as if he were himself not aware of the Supreme Person of Godhead, Krishna. As it will be evident from the 10th chapter. In the 10th chapter, Arjuna knows perfectly that Krishna is the Supreme Person of Godhead. He is the fountain of everything and the last word of transcendence. So Arjuna knew already, but for our benefit, is asking all these questions. Of course, Krishna also appeared as the son of Devaki on this earth. How Krishna remained the same personality of Godhead, the original person, is very difficult for ordinary man to understand. See, Krishna came as a baby also, right? Baby Krishna stealing butter and all that. There are many stories like that, right?
Yes.
So then, how can one believe, yeah, this small baby is the supreme Lord? Very difficult, right? So for ordinary people, it may be difficult to understand. But this Bhagavad Gita tells more about Krishna, that how he is the supreme. Okay. Arjuna put this question before Krishna so he himself could speak authoritatively. That Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead accepted by the whole world, not only at present but from time immemorial, and the demons alone reject him. Anyway, since Krishna is the authority accepted by all, Arjuna put this question before him in order that Krishna would describe himself without being depicted by the demons, who always try to distort him in a way understandable to the demons and their followers. It is necessary that everyone for his own interest know the signs of Krishna. Therefore, when himself, Krishna himself speaks about himself, it is an auspicious for all the world. To the demons, such explanations by Krishna himself may appear to be strange because the demons always study Krishna from their own standpoint. But those who are devotees heartily welcome the statement of Krishna when they are spoken by Krishna himself. The devotees will always worship such authoritative statements. See, if somebody is a very great personality, he has done 3 4 PhDs, he has 5 7 factories, he's the Karodpati, and now he's telling this to his friend. I earned a crore that day. Now the same statement, if he makes it to some competitor or some another person who's not his friend, what do you think the other person will think? He'll think what boastful he is. He will say kya bolta hai, like that. I don't believe him. Or he will say how can I steal from him money. So only a devotees, meaning friends of Krishna, can only understand what Krishna is saying. They will accept what Krishna is saying. Otherwise, other people, what they will do? They'll become envious of Krishna. Hmm? Grina. They'll say, why him? Why not me? Right? The atheists who consider Krishna an ordinary man may in this way come to know that Krishna is superhuman. So the atheist, if they come to know Krishna is superhuman, that he is Sachinanda, eternal form of bliss and knowledge, and that he is transcendent and he is above the domination of modes of material nature and above the influence of time and space. Uh, they will still reject it, and they will think that okay, Krishna, you're just an ordinary man, you're a historical person. But a devotee of Krishna is not like that. Like Arjuna, they're undoubtedly above any misunderstanding of the transcendent position of Krishna. They will accept what Krishna is saying. They won't doubt what Krishna is saying. Okay, Arjuna putting this question before the Lord is simply an attempt to by the devotee to defy the atheistic attitude of the person who consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being subject to three modes of nature. See, if Arjuna had not asked this question, what would have been the problem in Bhagavad Gita? If he had not asked this question, what would have been the problem? The problem would have been that whether Krishna is telling lies or how to understand that he gave this
Yeah,
knowledge
if
to
he's
one God, right?
authentic, like if, yeah, if he's lying.
Yeah, Krishna had to show Virat from, because everyone knows that God is everywhere. How he is? In Bhagavad Gita 11th chapter, Krishna shows that Virat form, and then it becomes acceptable, right? Somebody on the road, walks and says, "I am God, worship me, bow down to me." Are we going to listen? No. We'll tell him, "Get out." But why don't we say that to Bhagavad Gita? Why? Because in Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna is proving he's God. So Arjuna asking this question is for our benefit, so that we know how this happened. And what does Krishna say? Sri Bhagavan Vacha. Bahuni me vyatitani janma tava ajajuna tani aham veda sarvani na tvam veda parantapah. The person of God said, many, many births both you and I have passed, and I remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of enemy. So Krishna is saying many births you and me have taken. Arjuna, we both have taken many births, which is true according to Bhagavad Gita, right? We take many births. We go from one body to another, you know. But do we remember all of them? Do you remember all of it? No. So Arjuna, he says, you cannot remember, I can remember. Now, this is the first difference that Krishna starts putting between him and Arjuna and other beings. That he can remember all of it. Can we remember what happened 5 minutes ago, 5 hours ago, 5 days ago, 5 months ago, 5 years ago? Can we remember? Little bit, or maybe sometimes zero, right?
Yes.
But look at Krishna. He says, I remember all of it. Every second, every fraction of a second, he can remember. Now, this starts giving us what is the power of Krishna. Anna. So, so Krishna is going to talk about himself, and this is the first verse he has said. Um, let's finish this purport, then we'll open up for some question and answers. We have information of many incarnations of the Lord. It is said here. So Krishna in the next verse he'll say Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glani Bhavati Bharataha Sambhavami Yuge Yuge, meaning I keep coming on this earth again and again. So in other literature also it is this is one of the verses which says I worship the Supreme Person Godhead Govinda, who is original person. So Krishna is the original person, absolute, infallible, without beginning. Now, although expanded into unlimited forms, he still is the same original. So he keeps coming as Narsimha, Rama, Varaha, so many. But he's the original. And he remains the same. It is not that he changed. It's not that he changed. He remains the same. And in his always, especially his fresh youth. We never see a old Krishna. Do we see old Krishna? No, right?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Where are we? Such eternal, blissful, all-knowing forms of the Lord are usually not understood by even the best Vedic scholars, but they are always manifest to pure, unalloyed devotees. Again, in the same Brahma Samhita, it is said, Ramadi Murtishu Kala Niyamena. See, the word Ramadi Murtishu is remained. Meaning, I worship the Supreme Personal Godhead who is always situated in various incarnations, such as Rama, Narsimha, Varaha, Vamana, and many other sub incarnations as well. But who is the original personality of Godhead, known as Krishna, and who is incarnate personally also. In the Vedas, also, it is said the Lord, although one without second. So, God is one without second, meaning he doesn't have any equal to him, and no one is greater than him. No one is equal to him, and no one is greater than him. And he manifests himself in innumerable forms. It is like the Vaidurya stone, which changes color, yet it still remains one. Do you know what is Vaidurya stone?
No.
See, it's like a diamond or something where in the light, if you look at it, it will give many colors, red color, yellow color.
Ah, okay, okay. Yes. I know.
Yeah. So, is it of that color? Let's say if it gives red color, is it of that color?
No,
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 right?
it is not.
Yeah. So that's how Krishna remains the same, and his other incarnations are like those colors which are coming out, but he remains the same. All these multi forms are understood by pure unalloyed devotees, but not by a simple study of Vedas. Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhakto. Even by the study of Vedas, it is very difficult to understand all these things. Only a devotee can explain all this. And Krishna, he himself explains, and devotees explain. These are the only ways. Devotees like Arjuna are constant companion of God. So Krishna says, like you and me have taken many births. So they have taken births together. Nar Narayan. Arjuna and Krishna are Nar Narayan Rishis. And whenever the Lord incarnates, the associate devotees also incarnate in order to serve the Lord in different capacities. So Arjuna is one of the his devotees. In this world, it is understood that some millions of years ago, when Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Sun God, Arjuna in a different capacity was also present. So when he was speaking to Sun God, Arjuna was also present in a different capacity, different body. What the difference between Arjuna and Lord is that the Lord remembered the incident, whereas Arjuna could not remember. That is the difference of part and parcel and Supreme Lord. Although Arjuna is addressed herein as the mighty hero who can subdue the enemies, he is unable to recall what he had happened in the various past births. Therefore, a living entity, however great he may be in the material estimation, can never equal to the Supreme Lord. Because Supreme Lord can remember all the births, millions, billions, many, universes, everything he remembers. And his memory doesn't expire, it doesn't become overflow. Like sometimes, our mobile says no memory, right? So the Krishna's memory is not like that. It is unlimited memory, and it can store unlimited information. Therefore, however great a living entity may be, he can never equal the Supreme Lord. Anyone who is a constant companion of the Lord is certainly a liberated person, but he cannot be equal to the Lord. The Lord is described in the Bhagavad Brahma Samhita as infallible, Achyuta, which means that he can never forget himself. It has two meanings. It can never forget himself, and he never fails to reciprocate. That is also another meaning. Even though he is in material context. Therefore, the Lord and the living entity can never be equal in all respects, even if the living entity as is liberated as Arjuna. Although Arjuna is a devotee of the Lord, he sometimes forgets the nature of the Lord. But by the divine grace of Arjuna, devotee, can at once understand the infallible condition of the Lord, whereas a non-devotee or a demon cannot understand the transcendental nature. Consequently, these descriptions of Gita cannot be understood by demoniac brains. Krishna remembers acts which were performed by him millions of years ago before, but Arjuna could not, despite by the fact that both Krishna and Arjuna are eternal in nature. We may also note in here that the living entity forgets everything due to his change of body. Don't we forget? We don't remember our past life. What to speak in this present life, we don't remember. But the Lord remembers because he does not change his Sachinan body. See, he doesn't change his body. We change our body. This is another difference between us and Krishna. That he doesn't change his body. We are changing bodies. He is Advaita, which means there is no distinction between his body and himself. This is third difference. Advaita. Dvaita means two. Advaita means it is not two, it is one. So Krishna and his body is one. See, we and our body are two different things, right? We are sitting in the body. This body is ours, right? And we are sitting inside this body, driving this body. So ours is Dvaita. It's not Advaita, it is Dvaita. Means there are two things. This body is there, we are there. But when we talk about Krishna, Krishna's body and him are same. There is nothing difference in it. So it is Advaita. Everything in relation to him is spirit. So his whole body is spiritual. There's nothing material in it. Our body is material, right? There's bones, blood, flesh. Krishna's body is not out of bones or something. It is spirit, spiritual in nature. Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Whereas the conditioned soul is different from this material body. And because the Lord's body and self are identical, his position is always different from that of the ordinary living entity, even when he descends to this material platform. The demons cannot adjust themselves to the transcendental nature of the Lord, which the Lord himself explains in the following verse. So, the another point to mention here is when he descends to this material world, when he comes to this material world, it is not that he has come due to some karma or force that is acting on him. See, sometimes the jailer or say a minister visits a jail. So those who are in the jail, if they think that, oh, today the minister has come, has he also done some criminal activity that he has come to this jail? Do you think is that the reason? No, right?
No.
Yeah, it is he is come out of his own will. Similarly, when the Lord comes to this material world, it is not out of karma. See, we are taking bodies by because of karma, right? What activities we perform, we develop that much credit, then we get that kind of bodies. in the next life. Sometimes we may be man, sometimes we may be woman, sometimes we may be animal, depending on our karma. We are just moving like. But Krishna is not like that. It is not his karma. It is his sweet will. Nobody forces him. Okay. So this is his biodata. His body and self are together. Karma doesn't force him. He remembers everything. He's unborn, like that. So we are opening the biodata of Krishna. So it is 7 minutes past two. So let's open up for some questions or comments. Any question, comment? Any question or comment?
No, none.
Okay. So if there are no questions, so let's stop. Thank you very much.